All right, okay. Stewarding. Are there any plans to change the stewarding company?
Right. No surprise, obviously, that stewarding was on the agenda tonight. Our stewarding has been run by a company, Safestyle, as you all know, for years, since we've been in Stratty. When I came into the job last summer, it was obvious that there was a major issue, a disassociation, a disenfranchisement from the stewards and our fans. I had a challenge. I had to look at whether we could source stewarding elsewhere, or whether it was even an option to stay with Safestyle. So the process I went through was to look at A, the quality of service, and B, the cost of the service that could be provided. Now, throughout the first season at Parc Scarlets, as I mentioned, there were a number of operational issues which the stewards were at the forefront of, and they were the interface between yourselves, and they bore the brunt of a lot of those issues. Having said that, there was no ethos, if I'm honest, of engendering and understanding in those stewards how important customer service is to us as a business and to you as fans in your experience here. So the long and the short of the process I went through, was probably took us 3 months last summer, was that we stayed with Safestyle for another year. That means that contract is up again this summer. Now, in my opinion, and from what I've been told by others, that performance is improved on last year. So this summer I will evaluate again, and I am currently in negotiations regarding our stewarding. One option is, like last year, to stay with our current provider. One option is to look elsewhere, and thirdly, to bring it in-house. However, that decision has not been made, and it will be based on, as it was last year, the experience of you, the fans, and the costs involved in it as well.
Hugh Davies, our financial controller. I've got one for Mike and one for Hugh. Hugh, you can ask this one. Mike, you've got one about funding directors, so you can ask that. This one's about money, Hugh. Quick question by Alan. I asked a question about resting key players after international duty on Tuesday. My question is, do we get extra money for these players after the international games have finished and they are back with us but not playing because of fatigue? For example, Stephen Jones. Can you explain how that sort of works?
Yeah, I mean, as you probably know, we get funding from WIU for players going international duty. The way that works is for each competition, there's a set amount of money that WIU split out, and is split evenly on the number of people in the squad. So if we've got 4 people in the squad, and the squad is 35, it's 4/35ths of whatever the pot is for that championship. It's up to Nigel, when that player comes back, whether he feels that player is up to playing that weekend, or whether they need a rest in the best interest of the player and the performance then on the pitch. We do not get any extra income for that. All we get is a fixed amount for the player during the championship, the summer tour, the Six Nations, etc., etc. So I think what we found this year is, I think Sean Lamont and Stephen Jones, when they got back, I think they played in every single game in the Six Nations, and I think rightly so. Some may argue against, but they were given a rest in one game. They were given a week off after they came back.
Okay, Mike, you've got a couple. I'll add them together. It's basically, what's the situation with the funding directors in terms of investment, shareholding, future intentions? The other question was based around, is there any more significant investment due? So, how are the funding directors? You see them and speak to them more than anybody else, and how do they feel about the number that's in there?
They're all in good health, thank you. Phew! Thankfully for us as well. Yes, what we announced to shareholders in insert to the annual report was that we are about to announce an AGM. At that AGM will be a proposal whereby the funding directors convert roughly half their debt to equity, which means it doesn't have to be repaid, which makes the balance sheet stronger. But also we have 900 shareholders going back to 1997, and they too have the right to buy a pro rata share, so their current percentage would not be diluted. So there may be opportunities there for new funding, and then we'll see how that goes and reassess the situation.
Thank you very much, Paul. What progress has been made in increasing revenue streams on non-rugby activities from Keith?
One of those key moves now is to bring in-house catering. EMC have worked hard over the years in terms of opening the stadium. It's the devil's own job to open a new stadium, that's for sure. But we've brought that in-house. So catering is a good example. One of our great opportunities is to make more use of this facility, or the stadium, the barn, and the track. It's not just the odd room here and there. Linked into that are other events. We do believe, we know we're in the shop window on a regular basis. We had the Welsh FA Cup final here a couple of weeks ago. Very, very successful. Not just in terms of the day that went well, but also in terms of people that attended that game. The FAW, one of the competing teams, and some of the guests from some of the other teams. So in terms of, that's a great sales opportunity for us. Whilst we're working on the day to deliver an event, you've always got people here that have got the potential of coming back as customers. So we've certainly got 3 very, very hot leads out of that. So those are things that we have been and will continue to look at in terms of live entertainment. But being the entertainment business, there's always something kicking around. There's always some weird and wonderful thing that crosses our desks.
Season tickets. I'm sure you're all you're waiting with bated breath for season tickets to go on sale and identify the prices. Yes, we have a plan A and a plan B. Obviously, it's slightly complicated by the fact that we still have another opportunity with the Blues playing in the Amlin Challenge Cup final to squeeze into the Heineken Cup. So we have been looking at a few variations, and we've got some bold moves on what we're going to do. And Antonio would tell me off if I gave any hint of what our bold moves, because obviously it's all down to the PR. So you'll be pleased to know that there will be some bold moves and initiatives in respect of our season tickets, and Hugh's had an involvement in that as well on how we're going to sell them as well. So season tickets, there was a number of different questions about early bird and the types of offers. We will be doing a number of different offers for next season, and hopefully enticing you in with a variety of different payment plans. Someone asked, is there a 3-year, from a financial point of view, is there a 3-year plan? Is there a master plan in that respect financially? Rather than me answer it myself.
Yes, basically. Excuse me. We always do. We've got a 3-year rolling plan. So each year, or even part of the year, we roll this 3 months forecast forward. Some of it is, stretch items where we think we could achieve. Some of it is actual, and all I can say, it does go that way. Turnover does increase. There's some things that will happen. The WYU participation agreement is a huge one for us. Competition income increases as they become more successful. What comes out from the Heineken Cup, etc., from the Magnus League, it's really taken off, and their budgets are on the up as well, and we get our share of that. So we feed this into a 3-year plan financially, constantly, and we keep a view on that, and it gives great hope for optimism.
It's an interesting one. One of the people mentioned about Heineken Cup and Amlin Challenge. From a hospitality point of view, I can only say that our hospitality figures when we played in the Heineken Cup were actually less than they were in the Magnus League, because the opposition that we played, London Irish on a Sunday when they were going to Twickenham. The Breed game didn't bring much interest because we played Breed before, and Leinster we played regularly. So actually I'm excited by whoever we play, as long as it's someone different, because that's the attraction. And the kick-off time also gives a different audience altogether. So it's quite exciting with some of the opposition that we could have if we were in the Amlin Challenge, because they could be slightly local, more local, and also bring a big travelling support, because that makes a huge difference.